Thanks, Hannah, for joining. This is the first time we are doing a pre-recorded session and chatting about how we built our whole Paradigm Wrapped experience. So this should be a great session. I think there's lots of learning for others who are looking to build a similar experience. So just for the audience, what we are trying to do here is we have an in-depth session where we can talk about um, how we build the whole Paradigm Wrapped experience. What are the tools we use? What are the concepts we brought on there? And ultimately, how we went from concept to final go live. So we'll have about 15-20 minutes where Hannah is going to take us through her work process, how she actually went about building it. By the way, she's the one who actually built it end to end. And it will also demonstrate some of the cool stuff we did all along the process. And then finally, we'll have some time where it will be an informal chat and Q&A session on some of the things that we all together went through as part of the Go Live. So cool. With that, Hannah, I think the stage is yours. Let's kick off with what you've got, and then we kind of follow on from there.
Okay. Thank you, Kaustav. Hello, everyone. I'm Hannah. I'm creative designer at Paradime, and today I will give you a 15-minute walkthrough of how we build the Paradime's first year in review in 10 days entirely by AI tools and by me, a designer without any coding background. So Fabio and Kaustav, our co-founders, they will join us for the Q&A section after. And first, I will show you about what actually we built, the demo, and then we will talk about the experiment to product, and then we will talk about the system itself, and then we will cover the challenges we face, and finally we will talk about what worked and what didn't, the takeaways. So cool, let's get started. So before we really dive in to show you the steps, how we build a year in review in 10 days with zero coding background, we will first look at what it looks for the user. So the user, when they land on Paradigm homepage, they will find this lovely card on the top left, which shows the year in review. And when they click launch, they will see this arcade theme. And then they put in their email as if they're inserting the coin in an arcade. And then they will see their data being printed from ticket dispenser, just like when you're playing an arcade. So and then next, they will get their personalized dino card with an illustration with this cool 3D hovering effect. And then when they go to the next step, the final step, they will see overall the overview of their statistics as well as their illustration. And there's one button here, download and share, which we allow them to take the final screen to show on the social. It looks like this with our Paradigm branding at the bottom. So you can see that we have this beautiful dino illustration, and we in total there are 6 archetypes with 3 archetype family. The first one is the AI Invader family, and the Space Explorer will evolve to Fleet Commander. When the Data Crafter family, Iron Builder will evolve to Diamond Builder, and for Pipeline Runner, the Speed Runner will evolve to Turbo Runner. So let's take a look at how this all started. So if you guys know that last November, Gemini 3 launches its new feature, so everyone online was very excited about it, and including me. So I took some time to explore what can this AI tool actually do. So this is the first tool I built, is the DBT explainer. Explain DBT to non-engineer background. And then the next one is the icon library. Very cool. You can change the animation, and then even a small game. So this really gives me a thought of, oh, maybe we can build a year in review with this tool. And then, like Paradigm have been using the arcade type of theme in our booth design. So you can see this very cool arcade. And this also gives me an idea. What if we build the year in review as in real arcade machine? So I go to Figma Make because my Gemini run out of credit, and Figma Make support Gemini 3 as well. I paste a very detailed prompt to it, and the first result it came back was actually impressive. So you're looking at the very first draft it gives up. Yeah, you can see like it's already very functional, and you can see there are some changes compared to what we got now. So what end up with choosing Figma as a final tool to build this project is because not only because it is a AI but also it has a very cool feature which is copy design. So with this feature it allows me to paste the design directly into Figma. I can adjust with vectors, elements without touching the code. So this really changed everything. And next, we will talk about the how the system itself, how we turn the user data into character identities. At that time, we got so many metrics that we all want to show the user, but the goal is to not to overwhelm them, but showing what is actually meaningful to them. That's why we decided with these 7 metrics, and then I go ahead and then group them in 3 major archetype family. The one is AI powered development with the AI conversation and AI commit generated metrics. And then hands-on DBT modeling, this one will be DBT terminal commands. Then pipeline operation will have these two metrics. So what we want to really bond the connection with the user and make them feel like the archetype really cool to them. That's why I choose the name that is resonate with the game that grow up with our audience, which is the AI Invader is inspired by Space Invader, and for Data Crafter is inspired by Minecraft, and for Pipeline Runner is inspired by Sonic and Mario. And the rest of the 2 metrics, they are non-behavioral metrics. So we show them into workdays in the hour saved by Dino AI. And for overview, we just show what it is. Then you might wonder why use archetype instead of levels. So then here's the question. How can we compare the AI heavy user with the hands-on DBT builder? The answer is you can't, and we shouldn't, because they are very different. So that's why by the leveling progression type of idea, we decided to reject it. That's why we go for the archetype. Naming also matters in this scenario. So there are actually 4 principles I give myself. First, this has to match the theme. We need to match also the game itself, but also it has to be clear and aspirational. It needs to be intuitive, make people feel good. Also, it cannot be like ultimate. It needs to have room to grow because we are a startup. Then we don't want to disappoint user. Some people, they might have late numbers. That's why we reject so many names during this journey. Something like master, beginner were all rejected. So that's why we landed on these names, 6 names. Then we will talk about the actual challenge I faced during the journey. What happened when AI can't give you the consistent result? This is our dino. It has simple lines. Like we have 6 characters we need to generate. So I go to Nano Banana. I thought, oh, it would be easy. We will just paste this reference and then tell what it to generate. But the result was not as I thought. So you can see on the right side, this is AI generated, and things is shifted a lot. For example, it's giving me a total different dinos. You also have the details that is too much that doesn't match with our theme. So this really stuck. That made me really stuck. So that's why I go to Claude. And I think this is a very great example of how to use one AI to fix another AI's problem. So by chatting with Claude, I came to 3 conclusions. First is you have to attach references every single time. Every single time. Do not expect it will remember. And then be specific about what to add and be equally specific about what not to change. So let's take this Claude prompt as an example. You can see it shows that add only these items. Also be specific about style requirement. It also clearly show what not to add. By this thing, I figure out the process, which is go to Claude, generate detailed prompt, and then go to Gemini, Nano Banana, generate the image with our reference image attached, and then go to Claude again to do the tweaks. But not everything is frustrating with AI. There's something that also give us surprises, which the first example is 3D hover surprise. Originally, it wasn't look like this. It was meant to be a scratch card, but the experience was frustrating because you have to drag your mouse and then move back and forth. It's not smooth enough. So I go to AI and I say, hey, can you generate the 3D card effect? With I remember only fewer prompts, it's generate this beautiful outcome. Even the background have this dynamic animation. So this is what AI do really well, but sometimes when you want to fix small things, it can really take you a lot of back and forth. Then there is one edge cases I think worth mentioning. There are some users in Paradigm, they are new, and they are trying out the tool, which means they won't have as many metrics as other data as other do. So instead of showing them the printing metrics with low data, which can be frustrating, instead we build this page, which is your dyno is waiting to hatch, and then we show them the whole archetype stack to prompt them that if you use Paradigm in next year, you maybe can be one of them. So the point here is to turn the disappointment to invitation. So finally, I think the key takeaway is like AI didn't replace design thinking. It amplified it. It saved me a lot of time in figuring out the technical work, and it let me have more time in thinking about what is the strategy. For example, I use ChatGPT in brainstorming. I love the voice recording that can help me think out loud. I use Claude for logic and also for the algorithm, for the prompt tweaking. I use Gemini Nano Banana for the image generation, and I use Figma for this UI shaping and also tweaking the details. So yeah, I think that's everything I'd like to share.
Cool. No, that's really fascinating. Like how you used 4 different AI or foundation models, in this case Figma, to put together a setup, because no one tool could be sufficient on its own, or no one AI is actually sufficient on its own to reach that outcome. One question that comes to my mind is that I remember you worked a lot around how, like, all the different metrics that you have, like, they have different orders of magnitude, but then you did some calculation to create a normal distribution curve or something like that, um, to normalize all those metrics before they can be assigned to archetypes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what was your thought process around that? What were you trying to achieve around that?
Yeah. That's a good question. So I have no data background. So the first intuitive sense for me was to add up the metrics within the same group and then compare. And then I realized that there are some metrics will have very large numbers that can dominate in the result over the smaller ones, which doesn't work. That's why I also chat with AI and also consult with my friends with the data background. And that's why we figure out the z-score normalization would be the best and the most sufficient solution for this case, so that you can normalize the metrics that is very different. They are different products. They are not like the same product. So yeah, to be fair.
No, that's really cool because I mean, like for somebody like me or Fabio who've been in the data world for quite some time, sometimes it's something we take for granted. But it's great that you actually looked at the numbers and you saw like, okay, they are like so wildly different in orders of magnitude that you need to normalize them to a z-score, and z-score is one of the best ways to do that. I mean, it's simple, it's effective. You don't have to complicate things much, so that the right scores get assigned to the right archetypes. Another question I have is like, what was like the sequence of steps from your standpoint? Like, if you were to do it again, what would you do different, or how would you go about sequencing the steps? Would you do anything different, or would you not do certain things? So if you have to do this again, what would that workflow be for you?
That is a very, very great question. There's one I can think on top of my head, which is to define the rules early on. So for example, just like when you guys build a product, you have design system. And when you don't build products when you're coding, right? You don't build buttons when you're coding and then finally figure out, everything is out of the place. And I think that's what I meant by define it earlier. So when I send the long prompt to Figma AI, I didn't define that. In that prompt, I was more talk about how the concept, how the screen, and then the transition. But I didn't talk about you have to have consistent buttons, consistent paddings, consistent image size. And then the result, that's why it took me so many time in figuring out how to adjust the size. Because when you do Figma Make AI vibe coding, you chat, you don't know that specific text element is tied to the same class with another text element. That's why I was saying that, hey, can you sizing down, can you sizing up, but it end up affecting another ones. So yeah, I think that's what I will change.
No, that's because I always struggle when it comes to like image related work. I always struggle with consistency. And you get one output that is maybe 80% there, and then the next iteration it just completely goes out of whack, and then I'm like, whatever was actually working now, that is also not working, and you have like a completely different set of outputs. One other question is, let's say, I mean, you kind of went from being a creative designer to being an AI powered creative designer now, you know? So people come across, people are like, oh, like design, there has to be creativity. I need to be very creative. If I use AI, I'm going to give up my creativity. I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose myself. What do you say to that? What do you say to those people? Because you've gone through that journey, right? I mean, I don't think you are any less creative anymore, but you have a huge Swiss Army knife right now. But what do you say to that?
Well, it's very funny because I was literally having the same conversation with Fabio. I was like, as a designer, I don't want to, show too much things are designed by AI and stuff. I think that is fine because you always want to be the best. For example, you are capable of creating the design yourself, creating the whole, coding. I want to learn coding. I want to learn 3D, everything I want to learn. But in fact, is no one can be so capable of doing everything at the same time. But I think it's okay. It's okay to have that. And I think what matters is the goal here. For example, what we want to be a year in review is we have short time frame. We have limited resources. We don't have like of free engineers doing this for us. So that's why I think it's okay to leave this kind of imposter syndrome aside, and then just focus on what you want to get an outcome. And think during building the journey, as I said, it didn't replace the design thinking. So like for example, the edge cases is also one design thinking. How we share the image, that one is also a design thinking. And it's like I think AI helps you to focus on the thinking part instead of battling with the technical thing. So yeah. Yeah. I think I don't have the screen to show, but I will verbally say it. So actually, we went through 3 iterations, and originally we thought it very straightforward is to take a screenshot of the last screen, right? We have the last screen metric side by side with the card and with the title, perfect. But the functionality doesn't work, and it just doesn't work. I don't know why. So I end up go to another one, the option 2, which is I make it a shareable link. So I will click the button, and it will I can copy the link, and then I open LinkedIn, and then I paste it, and then it show the preview image. But there's another problem with that, which is they will have a Figma site URL. Not only it's not professional, but also this app itself, it is embedded in our app. It's not public shared. So it will break the experience if they are on different devices. So that's why we move on this option as well. We decide to go from the third option, which can be a bit more manual, but actually it solves another problem, which is the first one option and the second option, it's all about capturing the last screen, right? But there were 2 buttons at the 2 CTAs at the bottom, which we don't want to share and no one cares. So what we also want is to have Paradigm's logo there. So that's why what we did, the third one, is to create the exact same frame and then hide it behind the current screen so that when user click on that, it is like HTML to PNG or JPG functionality. So it download the image. So yeah.
So
I
it
guess
was
it's this kind of like trickery, right? Where you know what the problem was or what you want to solve, but then I guess using Figma Make and Claude and so on, you're able to identify what the problem and then trying to figure out a solution, which was a hack at the end of the day, right? It's like, well, we create
Yeah.
the same image, we modified a little bit, it's hidden behind the scene, but then when we run the function to get the image,
Mm.
we actually getting the image from the hidden frame, not from the
Yeah.
one the user is actually seeing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I remember that one took me like 30 more downloads to test it because originally I just hide the frame and it didn't show up. It's whole black. So I don't know what happened. So yeah.
I remember like you built that game initially. I think we saw the game.
Mm.
And how did you go from all of that into the design that you had finally? It was were you kind of using AI to kind of iterate on things, or were you using your own design skills to say like, okay, this is what I want the whole output to sort of look like, and then you started building your prompts as you kind of went along?
Oh, I think this one is surprisingly easy. It's just to be one prompt, and I just paste our booth design, and I paste it to Gemini, and I said, "Hey, can you generate an arcade theme game with this? I wanted to like dodging the obstacles," and then it just showed me this. So it's crazy.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I think that's really that was I think the most surprising part. It was like it was bang on designed in terms of like the design system, colors, most of the colors and all, and then it kind of went and built that. What are some of the surprises for you? What did you find surprising, good and bad?
Surprising. Uh, surprising for Gemini.
Yeah, like if you were using Gemini or Nano Banana. Claude?
Mm.
Because I have never seen you use all of those things before.
I mean, I use it secretly.
Yeah.
Surprising, I think definitely. Okay. A lot of surprising moments, but one will be AI is, for example, in Figma Make. I thought Figma will be better in illustration and in designing, especially it also supports Gemini 3. But if you recall the very first year in review it generates, there was an arcade machine.
Yeah.
And it's surprisingly bad at making it like our arcade machine, even though I try to show it detail and then be specific, and even I find some reference arcade illustration to it, vectors, it won't work. And I wanted to, original thought, right, is to make people feel like really playing an arcade. So an arcade machine appear, screen light up, and then zoom in, and then the game appear, and then you insert the coin. That none of it works. So that's why I end up going something simpler, which is the one you see on the screen, just arcade itself. So I think it's a bad part. But I think good part would be how when I chat with Claude, okay, about what Gemini generate ugly images, I just pasted Claude. I say why I was desperate, right? Why keep giving me the things I don't want. And then when Gemini say, okay, I can see it is getting creative on blah blah blah, and what you are after is blah blah blah. So it figure it out, and then it generates the prompt. And then when I paste it, my God, that suddenly match what I want. Because I'm kind of perfectionist in
Yeah.
this one. Yeah. So it's great. Good part.
So you'd say your workflow is get one AI to generate the prompt for Figma Make. Essentially, what happens is that there is Claude and OpenAI that is being used to generate and fine tune the
Mm,
prompt that then is being fed into Figma Make to
yeah.
keep Figma Make within its guardrails. You're basically generating the guardrails for Figma Make because otherwise it just goes out of whack.
Yeah, I think Gemini is more who will get out of the control. It won't listen to you. I don't know why, but that's why you need another AI to structure the prompt. But for Figma Make AI, I really like the feature of it will show the reasoning. It says that the user is asking blah 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 blah. So I can know what's the thinking behind, and I can know what the problem is. So I think Figma Make AI is fine, but it's not good at illustration.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I guess an interesting one, which maybe you can talk us a little bit more about it, was to get to the final, let's say, archetype images. You went through various different iteration of that image, right? So that you could effectively generate this very very specific team images. Now I know that image generation is sort of like, even with now banana, deteriorate over time, right? The more you prompt, the less it look like the way you actually want it.
Mm.
How did you manage to generate images that fundamentally, when you put them all next to each other, they will have a very similar theme, which I know it's pretty hard usually to do that with AI. Can you maybe talk us through how you went about that?
Yeah. I think what I do, if I recall correctly, I open a lot of new conversation with Gemini, because as you know, like when you prompt more, it's getting different dinos eventually. So that's why I open a new prompt and then I paste the reference image every single time, and then I make sure Claude the prompt has everything written, and then once I think okay this one's perfect, and then I try next one. If it's not, I open another new conversation. Yeah.
See, so it's sort of like you go on a multi-step process where you generate the first version. Then if you're happy with it, you take that version and you build on top of it into a new, say, thread or conversation, rather than continue in the same thread, so that you sort of like have a checkpoint. Okay, this is the image I've generated and I'm good with it. Now I'm going to go and start a new conversation. The baseline is not the original image you had, but it's actually the most recent one you.
No, it's the original one. Always the original
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. See.
This is interesting, right? Like this means that you never let conversations or like memory cloud cloud the AI's judgment as you because you just start from scratch because you know you have a great starting point and you do not want anything that has happened in between to affect each of the image generations.
Yeah. That's how I built it. I was surprising how 6 image can took me almost like 2 days. Right?
I think the whole game took maybe 2 days and then 6 images another 2 days.
Yeah. I was originally planned to have 12 images. Glad I didn't.
What do you did you get a chance to maybe fiddle around with other image generation models like I don't know Flux or something that's out in the world, or you just stuck to Nano Banana because it's just easy to get it through Gemini?
I stuck to Nano Banana because it used to. I actually I use Nano Banana a lot. Sometimes it's giving me the outcome I'm satisfied with. So that's why I trust it can make it, but it just needs some. It's my problem, right? It's my problem. That's figure out. Yeah.
What guidelines would you have around writing or having good prompts for image generation? Because that's my personal struggle these days. So I'm just asking anyone and everyone I can is like, how do you write good prompts for image generation? Because other stuff and code and stuff, I think I have figured it out. But image, I'm less like video, forget it. Image, I have no idea. I'm kind of struggling with image at the moment.
Yeah, I think it will be having reference always, because if you have the reference, you know, it's always hard to make them generate the image in your head, right? It doesn't feel right and you don't know why. It's very hard to put in the prompt verbally, but with the reference, I think that's what makes things consistent. And just ask questions to Claude. I say, hey, for example, why this belly is purple? Why is changing the height of the dino? Why the detail is changed? And it will kind of tell me why. So how can we make it not overly detailed? So yeah. And I think make sure the prompt is not overly long. The outcome wasn't so good as well.
Yeah, I think the key takeaway for me is that instead of trying to write the prompt myself, I think I would ask Claude to create the prompt, and then I'll take the prompt to Nano Banana, and so that it generates the image, and then I take the output and the reference and the prompt back to Claude.
Yeah.
To say like, hey, why it is different?
Yeah.
Can we figure this out?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly a flaw.
Gotcha. What would you say? Are you a creative engineer, creative designer that loves AI, or you're now an AI powered creative designer? What would you say?
I love AI. I mean, I feel awkward to say I am AI powered. I'm AI AI designer. It's cringe, okay? And I'm also not. If you look online, there are so many people that shift good things with AI. This is just a small thing, as like few things I ship, so I wouldn't say that. But I really enjoy AI, like everything. For example, the question you just asked, how to feel like less stuck in the role of designer to confidently say, oh, I use AI to generate the work and that is the ownership, right? I think, and today I just chat with ChatGPT about this, and then it says that, oh, it's because you are being very responsible. So you want you to be perfect, so and that's okay, something like that. So yeah, I use AI for everything.
Yeah, like I think that's the thing, right? Like you already know what you're good at, and but spending 30 days learning, let's say, which one, the Adobe one that you don't like, Creative Studio or Illustrator, or which one?
After Effects.
After Effect, yeah.
Yeah.
Spending 30 days learning to know which button to click on After Effect to get stuff done, it's not a good use of anyone's time, you know. And
Yeah.
if that thing can be done to a relatively large degree using AI tools, maybe VO gets better or little animations and things like that can be done. My view is like, why not? I mean, like, you're just accelerating the shipping velocity rather than being stuck in the process, right?
Right. Yeah. I think it's fact that AI, very capable of giving you surprises, but as we mentioned, it's very hard to put your imagination to life as well. I mean, it's still, it can't replace, in my opinion, right? It can't replace any design tools. I mean, if you only rely on that, that's not good. You can depend on the scenario. If you are short time, maybe try AI or use AI for quick prototyping. But if you really want to build something legit with details, being perfect, I think those tools are phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it's hard to learn. But it's, once you get hands on, it's good for creativity.
No, absolutely. I mean, like, it's always the thing, right? Before, you can just write a bunch of code using AI, using Claude Code, for example. But getting into production is a whole different ballgame altogether.
Mm,
And I think the real success here is that we went from prototype to production.
mm,
And I think that's the win here, because there is, like, as you were saying, there are like hundreds of, like, millions of prototype examples on Twitter. Everyone's raving, oh, I built this little clone of that clone and this little animation and so on. But were you able to add taste? And people call about taste these days, especially on the creative side. Were you able to add taste? And then were you able to combine taste with what you've got and finally get to a production quality output? Recently, I saw like a ad that Hermes fashion brand, they did using, I think they used VO
mhm,
and Nano Banana and a few other things
mhm,
all together to create, I think, a 30 frame ad, but it was not just one tool. It was a set of things that they used, and most likely they passed it eventually through like a video production, video editor or something to
mm.
smoothen the screens and things like that, and the effects and all. But
Yeah.
ultimately, it was like quite a bit using frontier models and a little bit of existing tools.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that is also what I find out as a designer or people with good aesthetic taste. Like AI won't replace your creativity. Like you know what you care about. Otherwise, we will settle down on the first few drafts. That you won't have these 226 versions, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. And I think to combining tool is very important. I use like for example Canva. Sometimes I don't want to generate image or finding asset online. I just use the available free asset there and to build from that. So so yeah, being know how to use what tool I think is the most important.
Awesome. I think we're out of time pretty
Mm,
much.
mm,
But yeah, like, this is fascinating. This is fascinating. I think we will also have a blog, and we'll put this video, and there will be a few YouTube shorts and things that are created on the back of that. But yeah, I think this is great. I think we should do more of these as and when they make sense. But yeah, this is great. This is great stuff. And I mean, I have learned a lot.
mm,
But yeah, I think this is great for anyone who will be listening to this or viewing this.
mm,
I think this is great, especially for folks in the creative field, to not be stuck in their ways, but like find new creative outlets.
yeah, yeah.
Thanks,
you.
Hannah. And I guess two things. We want to see this game live. That's the next thing up, so that people can play.
I, the request, I was like sweating.
You know,
Cool. Cool. Awesome. Thanks. Take care. Bye bye.
Take care.